Okay, so now we've managed to strip it all down. I've managed to get this bracket off here. It's quite badly seized. I ended up popping the whole frog assembly into my vise, and with some mole grips on a screwdriver, a good twist, and we popped it off. But that is absolutely rusted up. It was sort of welded on to the back, but it's all down now. And what I want to do is all them little bits, you know, they've all started rusting and breaking down. So simply a nice little tub with a good squirt of penetrating oil into there. And again, I'm trying to do all this real time, just so you know that there's no smoke and mirrors and stuff like that. So I'll literally just drop everything into there now. The good thing is it's all contained in one small area, so I know it's not going to disappear anywhere. So a good soaking of WD-40. Now that will quite happily sit in there for as long as I need it to, and it may sit in there for a few hours. So it'll be a case of I'll come back to it, and then we'll sort out what we're going to do with it and what state it's in. So we've got everything to one side. Now again, the body, we'll just have a light clean up of this, as we do, we know by now. So onto my board, and then it's a good dose of oil on all the surfaces. The toothbrush. Now some people would go straight in at this with paint stripper, because by the looks of it, it is going to need stripping. You know, I'm certainly not going to paint on top of flaking paint, because that's achieving nothing. But I just want to get it clean, just to show you what you can get done with a toothbrush. If you've not watched the other video, you know, you won't know how well this works. Now some people, and again I've done this with some of my, what I class as my collector planes, I haven't actually replaced the Japanning, or I've left it as you know, so it's actually chipped and it's showing its age. But they are where there's still quite a bit of the Japanning left. With this one, there's actually not a lot, and I think, to be honest, most of this at the front appears to be white or green paint, so it's not even actually black Japanning. So again, a good brush, and as I've stated before, you may need to do this quite a few times. Give it a blast with the oil, give it a clean off with the toothbrush, and then we'll see what we're left with. So again, some rag, and it's at this stage you'll actually see what you've got under the grime, and I can already tell you that this really is quite a rough little project to start with. I'm pretty certain we can get it so it's something like. Yeah, there's all sorts of paint on here, all sorts of colours. Whites, greens, blacks, there's a bit of red, there's a bit of yellow. Just give it a wipe over. But already, that's the sort of stage we're at. Now again, some people would leave that, put it back together. It's perfectly usable. It just doesn't really look particularly nice. You know, on the insides here, we've virtually got no Japanning left. So I think this is definitely a good contender to have the full treatment, which again will be a first for me. So we'll see about doing that for the first time. But again, we can see in here we've got quite a bit of paint. You know, WD-40 and a toothbrush aren't going to move that. We've got a great big lump in there, probably 4 or 5 mil thick of paint. So that does need to come off. So because we're going to strip this, I've got no problem, just a slotted blade, or you know, whatever you've got. And again, I'm trying to do this real time, just so you know there's nothing nothing underhand. I'm not going to suddenly cut to a, you know, a perfect plane that's miraculously appeared. This is how it's going to be. So again, work on the thick and just take off what you need to. Obviously, if I wanted this japanning to stay, as I've already mentioned, I wouldn't get involved in a screwdriver blade across it, because as I'm taking the paint off, I'm obviously taking the japanning off as well. But I don't think, by the looks of it, there's a great deal of japanning there. We've got bits of silicone, bits of fillet, and then, as I say, the obligatory paint splatters. But again, that all comes out just to clean it, just to see what's under there again. And that's the sort of thing I'll do, and that's what people are asking me, how I actually attack the bits of paint and the areas of rust. So that's just a quick insight into that. And again, it always helps to just clean off what you've taken off and get rid of any of the bits and the loose. And again, that's the sort of stage we're at. There we go, that's better. That's the sort of stage we're at in there. That's the sort of stage we're at the front. Now this really is a rough one, to be honest. This is a bit rougher than I thought it was, but it'll be all the better when it turns out to be a nice one. We're still at that stage of the sole, which is quite nasty. Now I'm not going to touch that at the moment because we've already done that. That'll be further down the line. We'll do something with that. Chip breaker, which I didn't cover in the last video, sorry. And also the blade, which actually there's not a lot of life left in that. This will probably be replaced, but for now I'll just show how we go about it. So again, so it's the good old oil, and it's a good dosing. Do the front and the back just so it's working its magic. Once again, it's that 120 grit sandpaper. And as I've already stated, some people won't be best impressed of attacking metal with sandpaper, but it's just a matter of just getting it so it is almost like a wet and dry, and it will really knock all that rust back. And you can already see by this sort of colour that we are lifting it, we're definitely doing something. Now we can go as far as we want with this. If we just want to take the loose off, that's fine, but I really do want this to end up being a nice looking plane. So although we don't want things shiny, I'm really going to work on this and take all this loose off and this black marring that we've got. Don't forget the edges. People often overlook the edges of these items. Get the edges done so we've got a bit of a sheen on them as well. Let's give that another dose. And as I've already said, we don't want too much. We don't want the sandpaper skating over, otherwise it's not going to cut, it's not going to do its job. This is definitely my exercise for a Saturday afternoon. And you do definitely get to this stage and think, crikey, what have I done? You know, we've got all sorts of rust that's being lifted and any bits of paint splatters. Again, medium wire wool, steel wool. And I like to use this after the sandpaper, because although the sandpaper will clean and put a shine on it, I find that some of the finer stuff that's on the metal, the sandpaper doesn't pick it up. Whereas the finer stuff, this wire wool really does. And obviously being metal on metal, it just puts that bit more of a shine on the surface as well. You know, which is what we want. We want it to look like we've had a go at it, but we don't want it like a chromed mirror finish. There we go. Excuse me, a bit more paper. Now again, this is really quite heavily rusted and pitted, but with a couple of minutes work, we're at that sort of stage. We've still got the black marring on there, you know, it's still showing its age. That'll probably require a bit more work, but that's just to show you what we can do with there. Again, the cutter, let's have a go at that one, just to prove that that other one wasn't a fluke. Again, a bit of penetrating oil on there, turn the sandpaper over. And you really do get a feel for how much penetrating oil, WD-40 or whatever you're using, you really do get a feel of how much you need on there. Because if you do put too much on, you don't get that noise, which is the sandpaper cutting. You know, it feels too smooth, it just glides over. But if you get just the right amount on there, again, and I know I keep using the term, but we're using it almost like a wet and dry. So again, a good dose on there. Now that's a bit dry. I can feel that actually dragging on the metal. So a bit more on there. There we go, that's better. You can hear it cutting, but also it's not getting stuck on the metal, it's actually gliding over. Again, not forgetting the sides. And the top. Small amount of wire wool. These will definitely require some more work, but I'm just showing you what you can achieve by using these basic items. You know, we've got no wire wheels involved or anything like that. It does get everywhere though, but that's part of the fun, I suppose. And there we go. And again, that's the sort of stage we're at. With, you know, a couple of minutes, we're at that sort of stage. And then the frog. The Japanning on this isn't too bad actually, but we've still got loads of bits of paint splatters. The lateral adjuster is quite bad, so again it's just a matter of just going around, you know, give it a good dose, not too much. As we say, we can add but we can't take away. And let's just flatten these surfaces off. With a bit of sandpaper. lateral adjuster is quite bad. Well, it can get a bit fiddly because obviously things want to move around while you're doing it. It's just a matter of taking your time. Enjoy the process. I certainly do. It's a matter of just lifting that rust off. No good going straight in with wire wool. It won't move it. I've tried it, it doesn't work. As soon as you see it starts lifting and it'll wipe away, then you've done enough with the sandpaper, and all you're going to do is start removing metal. We just want to remove that top surface. So if it wipes away like that, the chances are then it will clean up with the wire wool. So we can then go in there with the wire wool. Now this is going to take quite a bit more work, which I'm not going to bore you with, but just quickly the wipe over. We can already see, you know, we back to metal there a little bit more. We'll get a bit of a shine on that. Same there. And then the lateral adjuster, we've taken the thick off that was there. We've got a lump there which actually looks like paint, so we may have to pop a bit of paint stripper on there. The back of it is still rusted up. Again, I'll work on that. I'm not going to go into that detail and bore you at the moment, but we're at that sort of stage. And then the lever cap is really quite bad. Now these are the items that people worry about. They think they're going to scratch them because they've got a chromed finish or whatever, the nickel finish on them or whatever it is. But you're not going to hurt it. Again, get the oil on there, let that do its job. That'll sit there and act as almost a buffer. Now again, this one really is quite bad, so this is going to take a lot of work. But what I'll do is I'll just show you how we can start stripping some of that off with just a little bit of WD-40 sandpaper and then wire wool. And I can already see that I've started lifting that discoloration off. It's started to break through. Fresh piece of wire wool, just to move any of the bits about. Again, we've got lumps of paint on here, which we're not going to move with sandpaper or wire wool. Now there's no colour there that we can damage, because there's virtually none of the orange left, which we would take off anyway, to be honest. So let's do a little bit more on that at the base. And again, don't be worried about damaging this. As long as you've got that penetrating oil on there to act as a buffer, you know, you're not going to start burning the metal or anything. And there we go. And actually I said that there wasn't any of that orange or red colour left in that logo, and just by actually removing the rust you can see that we have actually got traces of the orange in there, which may be quite nice to leave just to show that it was once in there. But again, you know, that's what we can achieve. We haven't touched the top here, that's what it looked like. We haven't touched the sides. You know, they are still quite rusted and discoloured, but overall that's the sort of stage we're at with the lever cap. Now that'll require a bit more work, obviously the sides. The back, same again. We'll fetch that off. We'll get in there. Sandpaper wire wool, exactly the same, you know. Nothing fantastic or expensive, I certainly don't use. And that's the sort of stage we can get to. I'm going to leave it there for now. I'm going to work on these a bit more, and we'll come back and go through all the small pieces that we clean up. Okay.